Welcome everyone to our Take Charge of Your Life discussion. This is our focus here is self-mastery and living an abundant life while living into our fullest potential. And I am Roberta. I'm a holistic health practitioner and the owner of Wake Up to Life Wellness. I'm also an elite mentorship trainer certified with Peter Sage. And my focus really is to, it's on my heart all the time about physical health. Of course, people carrying around illnesses and fear of failing health and really not quite understanding how the body absolutely will heal us when we give it the right environment to do it. So that keeps my passion going every day. And of course, doing the personal transformation work. And this is my co-host, Tish.
All right. I'm Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. I am also a trainer and mindset and personal transformation guide. My passion and belief and mission of my company is to inspire others in their own growth because I truly believe that if we change, we can change communities, change your workplace, and make changes that just help out future generations to come.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm just going to introduce our mentor, Peter Sage, who we've been certified under as the elite mentorship trainers. And he is an expert in human behavior and leadership. He's also a serial entrepreneur, and he does many, incredible things beyond our comprehension sometimes. He has spoken to over 50 million people have heard his talks online or in person in the world. He's been in 62 countries and 5 continents where he's shared his gifts with the world. And his mission really is to provide individuals with mindset and tools necessary for personal growth and success. So he wants to help raise global consciousness and help each of us really to see our greatness. He said he's a mirror. He just holds up a mirror for our greatness. And so he's quite an example and an invitation for us to live into our full potential. And Tish is going to introduce us to our topic today with one of Peter's videos.
So if you've been following along, we have been talking about archetypes for the last couple weeks. If you missed it, please feel free to go back and look at our other discussions. Number 29, we talked about the introduction to archetypes and these personalities that all live within us. And then we also have talked about one in depth known as the sovereign, which is kind of like the king, the overall ruler. Today, we're going to talk about the magician. This is your inner world personality. It's within each of us, though some of these archetypes are more dominant in others. The magician is definitely one of mine. And it's responsible for your problem solving, creativity, imagination, and dreaming. So let's listen to what Peter has to say, and then we're going to break it down for you into our 3 sections.
The second archetype in the series that Carl Jung gave to the world really centered around the energy of the magician. Now, we all have the energy of all of these archetypes, but what separates the magician is that inner level of creativity, that spark, that wonder. Magician energy lives predominantly in the inner world. It's where solutions come from. It's where poetry comes from. It's where musical scores are composed. If you are identified with your magician energy, then there is no issue that you can't solve. There's always a solution somewhere. It's about fun. It's about being able to dance with the universal tune of life in a way that allows you to play full out. Now, the challenge with the magician in the inner world is if you live there, you get nothing done in the outer world. So people that are dreamers that don't have the other archetype energies tend to just dream and not really accomplish. So just be mindful of that.
Excellent. So we're going to break that down into our 3 parts. So live empowered is the mindset, live healthy is our physical body and how that affects us, and living free is in the soul realm. And so I'm just going to start that off with the mindset around the magician. And I love Peter's energy. He is absolutely a magician, and he's created the most amazing things in his 30 some years of the work he's been doing. So the magician, like he said, it's about the inner world. It's about seeing beyond the surface, right? Instead of being trapped by limiting beliefs, the magician's always looking for a solution and not just accepting the status quo, I guess is how I would see it in my world anyway, because I am definitely got a pretty strong magician energy also in myself. So like we're questioning reality, and we're not just settling for kind of being a sheep that follows everyone. Where we know there's more. We know there's potential. There's amazing things that are possible. We think of all the creators and the inventors of the world, right? They have just a huge, strong magician, the artists, the composers, like Peter said, the ability to sing and dance and create beauty and music and art. So the magician has a lot going on in their minds at all times, I think. And what we focus on really expands. So being in tune with that magician, we get to have that playful, kind of, if it wasn't for the magician, I just think we wouldn't have, joy and spontaneity and lightness and humor, right? Humor diffuses so much stress and takes us out of the seriousness of life. And so that magician is such a powerful influence. I love being around very funny people. Like, they're just like, oh my gosh, that's such a gift to give to people, is to have that mindset of humor and being able to just have that wittiness and that ability to just, kind of makes people day. If someone comes up and is just hilarious, you're just like, wow, you forget what you were even upset about. So yeah, I think of that as for myself, the magician was what took me out of my old struggle of like my old story of depression, anxiety, and just survival, and kept compelling me to come forward and say there's more. So I think of that verse in the Bible that says, seek and you'll find. And I was always seeking for a way to get better, to feel better, to live into what I knew was possible for me if I could just, get out of this low frequency and this mindset that was so limited. And the magician just brings things across our path and synchronicities, and we're just able to, I have been able to, from that, to just really propel myself forward, because I'm a learner and I'm constantly looking for that new, way forward. So
there are so many ways that magicians show up. I think of kids, actually, as you were talking there, and just so much creativity and imagination that they have. And then if you look at the adults that really held on to that throughout their lives, these are the ones that make music, like Peter said, or the art that we seek out and find. Even, different playgrounds, different buildings, just so much beauty that comes along. For me, this archetype is huge, and it is in my creativity. I really enjoy, speaking of kids, making birthday parties. I have been told that I was crazy sometimes because, going to the paying for somebody else to kind of put something on just wasn't for me. Instead, I would spend weeks before prepping like clues and writing things backwards and going on treasure hunts, and really felt alive in this energy and letting my creative imagination come out, which as adults we don't always feel like maybe we get an opportunity to do. And I can see this the more I learned about it, even in my career as an accountant, which seems, very logical and very sort of numbered based. My magician was the one that was problem solving. My magician was the one looking at businesses and how can we make this better? How can we change efficiencies? Even looking at financial statements, how can I tell a story, from these numbers? How can I make this boring financial data, seem exciting and fun in order to, keep interested in my career. So this is has big energy for me as well. It's one of my primary archetypes.
When you're sharing, I think of resourcefulness was the word that I used a lot in my life. My dad was super resourceful. Like there was nothing he couldn't do, really. He was a farmer rancher, and they say, well, some people are the jack of all trades, but master of none. But he was master of many, and he truly could, like there was nothing he wouldn't tackle and take on. And so, yeah, that was really drilled into me. And I'm really glad, that it was. I think, like Peter said, too, if we just stay in the inner world with our imagination and thinking about things, they won't come into fruition, right? They won't come into reality. So also having to discipline the mind to take action so that it can show up in the outer world. If I have something amazing, but I don't share it with people in the tangible world, then nobody will ever know that gift or that brilliance that was in there unless we find a way to bring it forth. And sometimes we, align with other people that have that gift of making things more present in the outer world, like the warrior or the, the sovereign, that are going to kind of give us that accountability to get that out into the world. And yeah, magicians, I don't know, I just think it's amazing that the solution realm that they have with the mind is truly unlimited. And yeah, it's very powerful.
They're the I can, right? Believing in your magician energy is how we find solutions to anything. Like you said, complete possibility comes from our magician archetype.
Yeah, and I think lately for me, that's just been so much awareness that we live in an abundant universe, and there truly in this day and age, there is a solution to every problem, whether it's in the physical realm or the mindset realm or the soul realm. So that's something I just am so thrilled that we live in the time that we do, because we truly have at our fingertips literally almost anything we could imagine to, bring our life into a better place. So it's amazing. The tip for this one is to practice reframing one limiting thought. So if you catch yourself thinking that you can't, and you just, yeah, that's not for me, I'll never be able to do that. Kind of for me, one thing I started doing was playing pickleball like 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. I had never played a competitive sport in my life, and I never wanted to be seen, kind of, I didn't care if I won anything. I was just very timid that way. And I was kind of invited to do it. So I finally jumped in and did it, and I absolutely love it. And I just, it's the best thing I really could have done. So it turned into a can to, I absolutely can. And I've gotten quite good at it. So it's a lot of fun. It's great exercise. It helps me on so many levels. So if we can just take one thing that's limiting us today and turn it into what would it look like if I could do it, and give ourselves that opportunity to have that possibility to grow. That would be my invitation for the mindset of the magician.
Excellent. That leads us really well into our body and live healthy. Roberta talking about for exercise. Our creative magician energy is, like we said, our inner voice. So if you're finding yourself bored with your current health routine, you don't want to do the same things over and over again, this might be a hint that you also have strong magician energy in you. However, movement, breath, play, these can be used to find new solutions. We can take all of the things we know about how to be healthy and that you're using currently in your routine and spice it up if that's what you need to do in order to continue to find new ways to achieve your health goals. Integrate creative flow into your daily routines, like finding new cooking recipes, maybe even making it a ritual to find one new recipe a week or something like that, and turning exercise into play, as Roberta was talking about, and her finding joy in pickleball. For me, as I said, my magician shows up, and I cannot do the same thing every day. That is included in my health routine, my workout routine, as well as what I'm eating. So though some people are quite all right with eating the exact same thing every day, my daughter will eat chicken, rice, and veg for 7 days straight. That is not me. My magician is like, that's boring. I have a much more need for variety. And so I try to challenge myself with new recipes, trying to find new ways to add health things that still spark that and, make it fun. Right now, I'm working personally on trying to find baking goods like granola bars, muffins, etc., that have more protein. So just one way that I know what's healthy for me. My sovereign, has told me that I need my health. We know that we do. It's one of our games that we need to play. And so how can I make that fun and add that creative magician energy to it is what I've been working on. As well as, like I said, my gym. I'm not arms one day, legs the next, etc. on the same rotation. Instead, I've signed up for things like Tough Mudder. I actually am doing a competition next week. Signed up for 15 kilometers. I did 5 and then 10, and just keep trying to strive for more. So not only is the competition itself fun, but this is what inspires me to work out before in preparation for the last few months, because I know that I have this thing coming up. And I've even in my 40s challenged myself to take Ninja Warrior classes in order to keep physically active and also have fun.
Yeah, that's a great description of how we can integrate the magician into our physical body. I think of in the physical realm, the magician uses the body as a channel of energy and creation. So if the body is unhealthy, if it's blocked with stress, or it's toxic, or it's stagnant, it's just not going to be able to access intuition and creativity and just, momentum, whatever it is we want to do. It's not fun and playful and spontaneous to be sick and to not feel good, or to have headaches, or to be tired. So when we think when the body is clear, energized and balanced, it's going to be a strong vessel for whatever we want to bring forth from the magician energy in us. So it's really, I think, imperative to have a physical health focus and playing that game of health, because without it, that magician doesn't have much of a way to come forth. If we're so limited, or if we're sick and in bed, or whatever, if we're tired all the time, we're not going to tap into that vibrant, dynamic, spontaneous, fun, creative side. At least I didn't, and that was just a big part of why I felt so limited too, because I had the physical health issues, and which, manifested as mental health, which was physical, brain tired, being tired with depression and stuff. And so, um, and it makes me not wonder now as I listen to this, that we are, I felt so like I had no gifts to offer, and I just felt like I just didn't have any talents. And it was like, I think it was because I was just so tired and not, optimally functioning so much in my brain and in my body for so long, that that just became normal to just be very limited. And so, yeah, we definitely need that healthy physical body to express, who we are, and to bring it forth in a dynamic and vibrant way.
On that note, I think it's also important, before you get to that unhealthy realm that Roberta is talking about, is that word of caution. Our creative, imaginative magician in its unbalanced form sometimes can talk us out of things. I have had plenty of mornings where I've told myself I'm going to get up. My sovereign, my king energy that we talked about last week, sets routines and tells me this is the best time in order to make sure that I am taking care of my health. But then my alarm goes off and my magician is like, nah, it's okay. You can sleep in. It's so nice and cozy right here. You could do it tomorrow. You could start tomorrow. So be careful which part of your magician you're listening to, the problem solver or the one that's making it okay to maybe not do the things that you're supposed to do. And on that note, then, our tip under the physical realm is that if you do feel unmotivated, maybe that unbalanced side is getting the best of you and you're looking for more ways to be playful, new health routines, then call on that creative energy to problem solve this for you. Ask yourself, how can I improve my health in a way that feels fun and playful? And then let your magician do the work. It will come up with answers that inspire you. Even if you need to go to sleep first, that guy keeps working over the night.
Yeah, beautiful. So that leads us into our live free soul realm. I think of the magician as the alchemist of transformation, right? So it's the part of us that, for me anyway, that's the soul connection. It connects me with wisdom beyond the natural physical world. So that's the deep dive into maybe philosophical things, spiritual insights and understanding. So it like bridges the seen and the unseen, translating that spiritual insight into tangible change. So when we think of transforming something, I get lots of, downloads, if you will, from the non-physical. And I'm just always getting more awarenesses on how I could do something different, or how I could, that be resourceful, or how I could create that. And especially with the holistic health work I do, in working with the human body and its dynamic and its brilliance, it's just so complex. And being able to understand and get the clarity from that field and from that connection with the magician in the unseen world, I get so many solutions. I mean, just always, I've never not had a solution, for what has presented itself in myself or my clients. So that's just a beautiful way for me to frame it up.
We talked last week about the sovereign being kind of the person that sort of runs our kingdom and makes decisions about what's for the greater good. It's the magician's job then, if we can add on to that, for the how. So both maybe, tapping into your intuition and receiving messages. It's your magician that creates how. It really creates that vision for the future. Once you decide where you want to go, what does that actually look like? How do we get to where we want to go? It gets you over all of the humps along the way so that you can live that free, vibrant life that we were meant to.
Yeah, the magician soul really thrives on that intuition and synchronicity and trusting in the unseen, that ability to trust in something greater than myself, for sure. And aligning with that, knowing that I can connect with it and that I can get that help and support I need. So that's a big part of it for me. And that that our lives are not random. That's what it directs me towards, the focus that I can co-create with the universe, and that I can, like we talked about early on, that we can create our own reality. And with the magician, anything's possible, and we get to play, we get to imagine, we get to dream. And yeah, there's no limits in that. And then even turning that into catalysts of growth, because the magician's going to bring forth things that I need to mature in, right? It's going to bring me awareness and understanding on how to do that, so that I don't just feel like I'm recreating the same life every day, that I can level up and create a better version of myself ongoing, because I always have that inner knowing with me and that guidance and direction. So it's a profound dynamic energy that I love to hang out in.
I'm tapping into it more and more during my meditations as I really, like I said, visualize what my dream life looks like and being able to feel it and live in that dream world. You know, as Peter said in the video, we don't want to stay there, but gosh, does it feel good to be there sometimes, to really imagine where we're going and what we want this life to look like.
Yeah, it's learning how to have fun for me, because I used to be so serious and life was so survival focused, and just I laugh a lot more these days than I ever did before. um, I also want to mention too, I think with children and animals, that's part of the magician playful realm too. That I'm so drawn to that. That when you see a child or animal, at least for me, I can't help but smile. Like it's automatic. They instantly connect with that part of them. That's that fun spontaneity and that childlikeness that we want to be, to enjoy life. So my tip for that is begin or end your day with a 5-minute visualization. So see yourself stepping into the life that you want to create. And if we can feel the gratitude of it and really get connected to it, it anchors us in that creative power that I mentioned, and aligns us with flow of transformation. So everything in that magician realm has a flow to it. It's not hard and arduous and efforting, but it's just flow. So
Excellent. So before we let you go for today, just a summary on what we've talked about. In the mindset and live empowered, we talked about using this creative energy. Know that it exists. Know that it is your imagination and your problem solving kind of energy. So you don't have to believe in limiting beliefs. If something doesn't serve you anymore, this is the energy of I can do anything by tapping into that magician mindset. Under live healthy, use this problem solver to bring more fun and variety, more playfulness to your health routines so that you don't get bored. But don't forget that caution that we gave you in your creative magician sometimes can be sly, and don't let them talk you out of what's best for you and what your sovereign has decided you should do for your health routines. And then lastly, under the soul, live free as an inner world energy. This archetype, the magician, is aligned with your intuition, your heart-centered dreams, and your purpose. Taking time to connect with this archetype can lead to dreams beyond your wildest imagination. Whatever you thought was possible, taking it that one step further so that you can find all the solutions you need for your true growth and to really take charge of this life.
beautiful. One thought I had while you were sharing is that, when we're in the shower or somewhere and then something just drops into our head and we're like, wow, that's a really good idea. Where did that come from? That's probably that magician connecting to that, the endless solutions.
They say a lot of like Albert Einstein and scientists, Elon Musk, those kinds of things get all kinds of incredible downloads like that. So definitely our inventors are tapped strongly into their magician energy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share an invitation again to join us in our transformation journey that we share with others, and thinking about the archetypes and how profound, it is fun to unpack them and lean into them. And there's so much more in our Leap Mentorship Forum that we would be diving into and really embodying and understanding the mature version, the immature version, and how we can implement them into our life. But it also helps us to understand every single person in our lives better. When we know this, we understand ourselves better, we understand others, which absolutely changes everything. Now, when I see people, I see them through the eyes of archetypes. And if someone's being kind of a frivolous, magician, and they're not really taking things serious, and I'm on a mission, I want to get things done, I can have more patience, and maybe I can invite them more into, to my side of the coin, so to speak, in that situation. And so yeah, really understanding people is huge. It just changes your whole entire perspective of the world. And so that's just one little piece of the Elite Mentorship Forum in the vastness of what it is, but that's what we, have available to us. And it's just, we invite you to come and join us with that.
Yeah, I have a cohort that is starting soon. If you're interested, this definitely is just scratching the surface. So if you're excited about this, another profound module is this one within our 6-month premium program. All right. So thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to end with a quote by one of those famous scientists that definitely was a magician. And he said once that logic can get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere.
Perfect quote for this. Thank you, Tish. And if you find value in this, we'd love it if you would like and subscribe and share this with anyone who might enjoy it. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Have a great day.